Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. Last night there was a TarkovTV podcast with Nikita talking about everything that's coming up in the latest patch and post that patch being the arena and Streets of Tarkov. So I'm going to cover all that, give you all the nitty gritty little bits and everything else I know in between. But without further ado, let's crack straight into it. So first up, the upcoming patch will have a wipe. There is no known date as of this time, but if you want to know more about wipe stuff and that, I'll have a link to a video up the top. I've made plenty of information about how a wipe works and where you find it and what the information you should be listening to. But eventually there will be a wipe. It will be a little bit with the next patch, and there will be a pre-wipe event before it. So Nikita said keep an eye out for that pre-wipe event. Once it kicks off, then you'll see that there'll be a wipe soon after. Pretty much exactly what I've said in my wipe video. I think my videos estimated the date would be around about now, so you never know. Anyway, next up they talked about the Lighthouse Expansion. So it's available once the patch hits, and you'll be able to just go over there and explore the lighthouse. However, on a later patch, at some point in time, they will make it that it requires special access to get to the islands, which I kind of feel like they'll be like swiping a card or something like that to open up the gate, or potentially, I don't know, you'll have to put a code in or something, and then once you move past a certain point, you'll be able to free to explore. Could be like a sniper will shoot you, or a 50 cal or something if you don't have access. I don't know. It'll probably something similar to what's happening right now. In the Lighthouse Expansion, there will be the 3 new scav bosses being added to the game. And on top of that, they will roam into different locations of the lighthouse. I will touch on another point that Nikita did speak about in the patch. That they're going to make it that bosses will only be available during certain times of the day on each map. So for example, you might have Sturman during the day, but Killer will only be active at night time on Interchange. So they're going to have a different types of the day on different maps is when the scav bosses will be there. I'm hoping that they actually dial it up to 100% spawn rate at that specific time, which would make it really cool because it would actually draw people into each of those maps. However, I don't know if they're going to do that, but fingers crossed they do, because it will mean you can actually go after a certain boss a lot more deliberately, at least. Next up, they showed off the co-op mode. Now, at this point in time, there will be co-op mode available for anyone who has Edge of Darkness edition, and potentially in the future, you'll be able to go into co-op mode no matter what version of the game you have. The reasoning for this is they have to supply extra servers to run the co-op mode, so I'm guessing it's to incentivize people to buy EOD, and then therefore they'll be able to pay for those servers. The way it'll work is you can join the co-op mode with other people. You'll have up to 11 players being able to join your group. So if you want to like film stuff or teach people how to play the game, or do your own little missions, you know, competitions against each other, you'll be able to do that in the offline co-op mode. As I said before, this will be run on the BSG servers, so you won't be able to do this offline like on a LAN or anything like that. Now, the basic clothing for both Bear and USEC will be changed. Currently, I find that the USEC actually stands out really well, like it's really bright. But it looks like they've dulled it down a little bit, made it a bit more, I guess, grayed out, or a greener, darker green, which kind of makes it so it'll blend in a bit, a little bit more camouflage. They didn't show off the Bear one, but I'll have to wait and see that. Now, as for guns, there was a plethora of guns shown off on the actual cast, and Nikita said there's even more that they haven't shown. So, starting off at the top, the G36, they're going to have the entire family. I could see from the cast alone, there was the 36, the E, the E2, and the KV2. And Nikita listed off a heap of other letters and stuff. So I have no idea which ones are which. But, you know, get excited. There's a G36 being added to the game. The Pestily M3 shotgun. This will have 2 firing modes, being the semi-auto mode and the pump mode. The Rifle Dynamics RD704, which is a 7.62x39. Now, he said this is like another variant of just a pretty standard AK. I also did see an AK-545 short. I don't know if that's any specific variant of AK, but he just said AK-545 short, and it looked like a very small AK. So that was kind of cool to see. Now there's the MGL, which is the automatic grenade launcher. It's like semi-automatic, and it had, I think, 6 to 8 rounds. I think it's a 6-rounder. It's, in my opinion, going to be ridiculously strong. But Nikita said it's only going to be coming available via the scav boss, and you won't be able to sell it on the flea. Have to wait and see. This thing will be an absolute beast if people get their hands on it, or they can have multiple of it. I think what kind of limits the one at the moment is getting the rounds for it is quite difficult. So maybe it'll be one of those things that you'll see, but you won't be able to use very easily. let's just wait and see. Now they added a 338 bolt action rifle. I'm not really sure which one it is. It's coming with a suppressor, and that suppressor will also go on the semi-automatic lapua. So this is going to make some of the shooting tasks a lot easier. So if you need to kill players under 30 meters with a bolt action, bam, you can take the 338 in there. If you want to go to woods and make sure you get that 3 kills in 1 raid of woods for Tarkov Shooter Part 8, this will make it a lot easier. Won't have to really go for those headshots. You'll be able to one-tap people in the chest, no worries. So something to get excited for there. Then they also showed the other end of the spectrum being a MP18, which is a 7.62x54R single loaded rifle. He classed it as a low tier, but this means that you'll be actually able to grab this one, chuck in like a PS round, and you'll just be able to one-tap people with class 4 armor or less, and this rifle will most likely be very cheap. So if you're actually trying to level up your sniper skill for Psycho Sniper and stuff like that, this will actually help out a lot. That is all the guns that we saw throughout the cast, but he said there was going to be more. So get excited for that, because it actually is quite a beefy patch by the looks of it. Now next up, we've got the flare gun. So there's going to be multiple flares that you can use. The yellow, white, and green, my understanding, won't have any use. It'll just be an actual like marking a location, but the red one, it will be an airdrop. And there's going to be 4 different types of airdrops, being the medical, a common one, a weapon mods and weapons crate, and then a supply crate. So have to wait and see. Obviously medical will be medical items. Common, I'm guessing, would be maybe include some barter trade items as well, or maybe just a random, just generic kind of what we've already been seeing. Weapon mods, obvious, and supply could be stuff from like barter trade items, who knows. But I really do like the other idea. It's anything that draws in point of interest on maps where people shoot off their flare gun, and then everyone's like, oh wow, there's going to be an airdrop coming in over there, and then brings people in. Initially when people were like, oh, airdrops coming to Tarkov was going to be lame, I think no one's really complaining when they see an airdrop come through and everyone's running over there. It's actually really cool. So I'm excited to see where they go with this. I think it'd be cool if you could like do more than just, you know, getting loot items in. Maybe, I don't know, you could do a flare and that would spawn a boss on the map. I don't know, but that kind of stuff sounds cool to me as well. Anything that makes events happen. One of the coolest things that I saw was they made it 3 unique special item slots on the character. So you'll be able to have your compass, a rangefinder, and a radio set in the future. So if you die, you don't lose those items. Rangefinder is going to make it a lot easier for newer players to figure out how far they've got to shoot someone. Trajectory and ballistics in Tarkov is really hard to understand as a new player, because they don't really act very realistic. It kind of like every round after about 300 meters just has a massive drop off. If you're trying to actually snipe at long range, it doesn't really work that well. And the rangefinder should hopefully help with that a little bit, and help people make, you know, good shots. Now, there's going to be a movement overhaul on all how the animations are for people that are crouching, standing, moving, running around, zigzagging, all that kind of stuff. Looks very sleek. He didn't like the video that he showed. He said it didn't really represent it well, but it showed it off well enough to me. You know, we got to see how new animations are going to work when people are running around, crouching, leaning, etc. One of the cool things is there's going to be 2 new voice options for both USEC and Bear. Bear's going to have a broken English voice line, maybe 2 of them. And I'm excited to have that, because I think a lot of people used to go USEC so they could use the voice lines to be able to talk to people. VoIP got added to the game, kind of meant it didn't really matter as much. But even still, having broken English for the people that don't like to use VoIP, it's going to be cool. You know, like I sometimes use the voice lines instead, because when I say anything in Tarkov, it's like, Pestily. So, you know, it gives me the option to go Bear, use those voice lines instead. They showed a little teaser video for the FSR, which is similar to the NVIDIA DLSS, but it pretty much means you can work it with any graphics card. So hopefully it doesn't like, I feel like the NVIDIA DLSS washes out the game a little bit, but the FSR hopefully won't do that. We'll have to wait and see. I'll test it out. My computer's pretty good at the moment, so I don't really have to worry about it. I seem to get 100 FPS on every map. Sure, Lighthouse is probably going to have a bit of a dip again once they do the expansion, but hopefully that FSR will help people make the game more accessible for them. New addition of daily task for Fence as well. So this means Fence is going to have a daily task for your scav. One we saw, I think, had 8 PMC kills, or eliminate 8 PMCs as a scav. I think this is really cool. Should be another way you boost up your Fence rep, particularly if you have a bit of a mishap and seem to tank it a lot. It'll give you an opportunity. Maybe if you kill Santa, kill Santa and lose a heap of rep. This will help out. One of the additions that have finally come to Tarkov, IR lights have always been in Tarkov, for at least for the longest time I can remember, and IR lasers. However, they didn't really work right. And now when you use an NVG and you have an IR light on, you will be able to see that light. It will illuminate the area a lot more. The way NVGs work is it absorbs any light in the area and will illuminate and make it so you can see stuff. So if you're in a really dark room like Nighttime Factory, it's actually meant to be a little bit darker on night vision. It doesn't just magically make things visible. It absorbs whatever light's there. So if you're in the jungle and it's pitch black, night visions don't really work that well. And that's why I use IR lights. So then you turn your IR light on either the NVG or attached to your rifle, and you'll be able to see things a lot easier. So that's kind of the purpose of them. And in Tarkov, you'll actually be able to use it. I think Tarkov, out of all the games I've ever played for night vision, has been the closest to realistic. It's kind of like easier to see stuff. It's enhancement and it works well, but sometimes it's kind of shit. The only thing they haven't added to Tarkov with the night vision is how often it fogs up the monocle. But anyway, let's not get into that. Now, for this patch, the last things that I really took note of was they're going to be adding a heap new streamer items, which I'm sure you've probably seen them already over Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. But if you haven't, I'll have them up on the screen for you. But there's about 6 or 7 new streamer items that they've leaked already. And Nikita said there's going to be new tasks added to the game, a heap of random new items and other cool stuff that they just haven't shown on the cast. Now for post this patch, so the arena. They're going to do a closed beta. It'll be an invitational pool. And the most active people also from the ETS servers currently will also get to participate in the closed beta for the arena. Now, arena is going to be available for people that have Edge of Darkness edition of the game, or whoever wants to buy the standalone arena DLC. It will be a standalone game as well, so you won't have to have Escape from Tarkov. You can just buy arena on its own and participate in that. He said it's going to be quite cheap. But the question came up about if EOD will remain on sale, and it will until Tarkov goes into 1.0. I imagine once Tarkov goes to 1.0, they'll release something similar to EOD that won't say includes all DLCs moving forward. So I think something like that will come along at round 1.0, whenever that is. So yeah, just take note that EOD is getting all these little extra perks, and it's not going to be around forever. So if you do want to get it, it's up to you if you think it's going to be worth your money. But he did say that the arena will not be too expensive, so you will be able to purchase it and it won't be too expensive. I did touch on the fact that the game will be separate from the main game, but you'll be able to switch from the actual main game across to the arena if you don't have the standalone and you're still playing on your main Escape from Tarkov account. You go, hey, I want to do some arena. You'll just be able to click a button in the main menu and it'll switch across to the arena. It will also not be split across whoever has the standalone and the main game. If you have either, you'll be able to play together and against each other, of course. Now, starting off when they start doing the testing, there'll be 3 to 4 maps for the testing phase of it. However, when it goes to the actual release of the arena, there'll be 5 to 6 small maps and 1 to 2 medium maps. And he wants to keep expanding on that as it develops further along. There'll also be indoor and outdoor locations, including weather effects on the outdoor locations. There is currently 2 teams, the blue team and the red team. And spectator mode will be coming at some point during the arena phase. Now, there's going to be a matchmaking system, but also a custom game system. So if you do want to make your own competitive matches, you'll be able to set them up and then have custom games for that, or play against your friends. However, there will be also a matchmaking system. At the moment, there will not be a ranked system. He didn't comment on what the ping limit would be. That was one of the questions, but the server tick rates will be 100+. So he hasn't decided exactly what yet. But because it's such a competitive scene, tick rates will go up to at least 100, he said. Now, there's going to be no quest system specifically for the arena game. However, you will get tasks on your main game to go to the arena and do stuff. It sounds a little bit confusing, but it just means if you're going to buy the arena game itself, there won't be anything extra for you to do. There won't be specific tasks like you're leveling up your traders. But if you do have the main game, maybe Prapper will say, hey, we need you to kill 2 people in the arena. Stationary weapons will be in the arena. There will also be nighttime arenas. There will be an internal announcer as you're playing the arena as well, which will give you commands like, the round's about to start or finish. But if people hide until the time runs out, then the announcer will activate the kill squad, and the kill squad will come into the arena and kill you, all the people that are hiding. There will not be a secure container, but there will also be points of interest within the arena to get loot. So any loot that you get from the arena, you'll take back to your main game and you'll be able to use. If you die with your main game's loot, you'll lose that in the arena as well. So stuff you will loot in there will actually be quite important to keep. So you can take it out and take it to your main game. I think this is going to be really exciting and fun. Now, those points of interest will also have stuff like good meds and good ammunition. So it's actually just another way that you could like zero to hero it up and get better gear. Or if you're really good at the game, you can really stockpile some good stuff. And maybe they can go a little bit further with that. We'll have to wait and see. Nikita said that there might be a Steam release in the future. Maybe, doesn't know, but it's a possibility. I know from a long time ago that they said that Escape from Tarkov will eventually be available on Steam. My theories behind that is when it goes to 1.0, they'll release it. It'll go on Steam. It'll get review bombed, like a lot of games do. But at the same time, I think that's why Nikita hasn't really put it on Steam, besides it taking, 30% of the cut anyway on all sales. My theory would be it'll go on Steam eventually, but probably after 1.0. They're still developing the custom matches side of things, but they haven't got the actual specific settings down pat yet. But he doesn't have anything to release on that. But what he did say is all mechanics within the arena will be the same as the main game. So you won't be able to set up like a instant kill mode arena match or something like that. So it'll still have all the game physics and lore and time to kill of the main game in the actual arena mode. There will also be PvE mode in arena. So if you're not super fond of PvP, you could go to the arena and try and tackle all the challenges that they set for you in the arena, which would be a really cool way for practicing up gun mechanics, using new guns, trying stuff out. And something he also wants to add is a betting mode, or options to bet in the arena. So opportunities to gamble up how much you can beat the other person. I think that's really fun, but probably, I don't know, maybe a bad precedent to set, but I'll have to wait and see. Now, last but not least, Streets of Tarkov. He said it's completely ready in its design. Like they've finished developing the map, setting it all out and making it all look nice and crisp. However, it's not ready in optimization and FPS. So once they finish testing it all out, getting it all optimized so it's actually available to be played at a high frame rate, then they're going to release it. And he said it's not going to be much longer of a wait. So fingers crossed they can get that optimization down. What usually ends up happening is they release it a little bit too rushed. Like Lighthouse, like Reserve, those maps came out and everyone had like 40 FPS. Reserve was actually unplayable. It was like you'd run 15, 20 seconds and then there'd be this like big stutter and you'd have an FPS drop down to like 10 FPS and then it'd go back up to like 40 and it was horrible. So I imagine that that's probably going to be something that will happen again with Streets, depending on what computer you have. But hopefully they can make it optimized because it's such a big map. It's just going to be very difficult to get it to that standard. Now, guys, that is pretty much everything. I know it's a little bit longer at coming out than my usual videos for these. I was away with some friends camping, but I've gone to a little bit of effort explaining more stuff in this, not rushing it out as quickly. But then hopefully you get all the information that you guys want. Hopefully you guys are excited for the next patch. I'm going to be pumping out heaps more content. I've now had bubs. I've got everything back in the swings. The editors are all ready to go. They're locked away in their basement, staring at their computers, waiting for me to give them more content to make for you guys. So get excited for that. And I'm putting out a heap of IRL videos very soon for your viewing pleasure as well. So if you like the video, like and comment for the YouTube algorithm. It goes a really long way. If you like someone's video, it doesn't have to be mine. Any video at all on YouTube, get in the habit of liking and commenting. It does help with discoverability, and sharing it with your friends is the next best thing. Besides that, guys, hope you have a safe and wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, day, afternoon, spaceship ride, or whatever you're doing right now. And lastly, I'll see you next time.